Breath of the Wild transcended a lot of classic Zelda traits to places we never would have imagined back when the series dove into 3D. Puzzle solving, story pacing, exploration methods, and even friggin' item storage. One of the most interesting things surrounding the development of Breath of the Wild sequel is how they'll handle these traits. Will Nintendo continue to reinvent, or bring back some of the classic tropes to strive for a balance of old and new? Either way, one defining Zelda characteristic I'd love to see return are the old reoccurring dungeon bosses. What's good, guys? It's Edible Incredible. Today, I'll be listing in no particular order 5 bosses that I feel would be too glorious in the world of Breath of the Wild 2. To start off, I gotta begin with one of my favorite Zelda bosses, the founding insect of the series. That may give you nightmares. Goma. For bosses, she's among the most reoccurring, even though we haven't seen her in her full glory since Twilight Princess. She's due for a true HD representation. Back when Breath of the Wild was referred to as Zelda Wii U, we got a glimpse of what a realistic Zelda would look like on a next-gen platform. Of course, Breath of the Wild sequel is not gonna have this art style, but the environment that the new trailer establishes with dark caves galore would make for an epic and potentially more creepy Goma fight. The next boss I'd love to see is the evil spirit from beyond, Phantom Ganon. He's seen multiple variations throughout the series, from mimicking Ganon's look almost to a T, to having more of a ghostly figure. If he wound up in this dimension of Hyrule, I'd be curious to see what route they'd go for with his new design, knowing that this Ganon will at least begin as a decrepit skeleton. Would Phantom Ganon resemble this aesthetic? So I love how he was handled in The Wind Waker, introducing himself once you obtain the Master Sword, then for a final time right before Ganon. If the final battle with Ganondorf will be built up by making our way through his traditional castle, Phantom Ganon somewhere in this end sequence would be a nice way to hype us up for something we've been waiting for since Twilight Princess. Another reoccurring boss that'd be cool to see in this environment, the Sandy Monstrosity. That goes by a lot of names: Moldorm, Molduga, Twinmold, and Majora. These worms have a bunch of variations. Twinmold being a duplicate insect, Moldorm a sporadic maneuvering parasite, Majora the massive guardian to its larvae, and Molduga the chubby whale. If I had to choose one of these variants for Breath of the Wild 2, it'd have to be Majora. Its design is the most intimidating out of the bunch, and since it'll be in more of a cel-shaded look, akin to the Wind Waker, they could be able to pull it off if we get some type of desert-themed dungeon in the sequel. So as we know, the Gerudo King should be making his triumphant return. With him comes the armies he creates. And who usually leads these armies? Well, in 2 storylines, that is. The Oracle Games and Ocarina, the Sorceress Sisters, Twinrova. She's his right-hand man, or I guess I should say right-hand mom? Either way, she'd be quite the interesting foe this go around. Even if she doesn't end up as a boss, a reference to her would be a nice treat. In Majora's Mask, we got them, but in an alternate plane of existence, or whatever you believe the world of Termina to be. Even a picture of them on Ganon's wall somewhere in his castle would satisfy me, especially if this Ganon turns out to be the same one from before, with that memory of his upbringing still intact. Last but most definitely not least, is Link's equal, the shadow version of himself, Dark Link. I know we got an outfit in Breath of the Wild, so it's probably not likely, but he's one of my favorite bosses in the franchise. Even though he's been used as a mid-boss more times than an actual boss, he's still such an iconic Zelda figure, stemming from Zelda 2 where he was the final boss, then in Ocarina as the Water Temple's mid-boss, which is by far my favorite iteration. The presentation of the boss room alone sells the whole fight for me. Breath of the Wild Link having to face his own shadow could give him a touch more character development that some people wanted from this hero. He's probably the most overpowered Link in the series with his wide-ranging arsenal, so naturally facing an opponent with the same amount of options would make for one hell of a wild fight. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what boss you'd love to see the most. And don't forget to stay hyped! Peace!